The rain started falling the moment Ava Thompson turned into her cousin's driveway, soft drops tapping the windshield like hesitant fingers against glass. She stayed seated for a long breath, hands loose on the wheel, wondering why this simple favor watching her cousin's 8-year-old son for one night already felt heavier than it should. At 34, recently single again, Ava carried the quiet ache of a life that had quietly unraveled. Plans she once trusted had dissolved, not in shouting or betrayal, but in the slow erosion of certainty. Tonight, though, helping Leah felt like the one steady thing left. She stepped out, rain cool against her skin, and walked into the warm house. Inside, the smell of dinner wrapped around her. Ethan ran straight to her legs, arms tight, words tumbling out about school projects, a favorite cartoon, and the toy truck he'd misplaced that afternoon. Ava smiled genuine, easy because that part of her still worked without effort. She helped with homework, warmed leftovers, listened to Leah's hurried instructions before the night shift at the hospital pulled her away. When the front door clicked shut, the house settled into a different kind of quiet. Not empty, still. Ava realized how long it had been since calm. Didn't feel like loneliness wearing a different name. They ate together, Ethan spilling juice and proudly wiping it up himself. Later they curled on the couch for his favorite movie, one he knew every line of. His head slowly tipped against her arm, eyelids growing heavy. When sleep finally claimed him, Ava carried him to bed, tucked the blanket around his small frame, and lingered. Watching his peaceful face, something tightened in her chest, a longing without clear edges, equal parts sorrow and fragile hope. She returned to the living room, TV off, rain louder now. On impulse, she opened her phone, scrolled through old photos, moments when she still believed love followed rules, when effort guaranteed happiness, when an engagement ring had felt like forever. Those images belonged to someone else now. She locked the screen just as it buzzed again. The name made her pause. James, Leah's neighbor. She had met him only a handful of times at family gatherings, polite, reserved with kind eyes that noticed small things others missed. His message was simple. Leah mentioned you're watching Ethan tonight. I'm right next door if you need anything. Ordinary words. Yet warmth bloomed unexpectedly in her chest as she read them. She typed a brief thank you, nothing more, nothing inviting. When she set the phone down, though, the quiet no longer pressed quite so hard. Ava walked to the window, watched rain blur the streetlights into soft halos, and thought how strange it was that a single sentence from someone she barely knew could shift the weight of an evening. She checked on Ethan again, smoothing his blanket when he stirred, whispering that everything was okay even if she wasn't entirely sure who she was reassuring. Back in the living room, she made tea, letting steam curl upward, and allowed herself to notice how the house felt alive with small proofs of love, crayon drawings taped to the fridge, toys scattered in corners. Simple things. Not grand promises that sometimes break. She sat again, mug warm in her hands, listening to rain and the slow tick of the clock, unaware that this ordinary night was already tilting towards something new. That saying yes to one evening had quietly placed her exactly where she was meant to stand. Eyes closed for just a moment. She felt anticipation flicker inside her, soft, unexplained. Like the first page of a story turning on its own. Then the knock came, late, sharp, unexpected. Her heart jumped, pulse loud in her ears. She glanced toward the hallway, Ethan still asleep, before moving quietly to the door. Shadows stretched longer in the dim light. When she opened it, James stood there, small paper bag in hand, rain glistening on his jacket. Surprise softened into something warmer, something she hadn't realized she'd been waiting for. Part 2. James spoke softly, explaining Leah had called in a rush. She'd forgotten Ethan's medicine at home. Ava thanked him, stepping aside so he could enter without waking the boy. The air between them hummed with careful awareness, not awkward, but alive with the unplanned nature of it all. They sat at the kitchen table, voices low, the house seeming to hold its breath. James asked how she was really doing, and instead of brushing it off, Ava shared honestly. Some days dragged with the weight of shattered plans, the future a fog she couldn't quite see through. He listened, steady and uninterrupted, his presence like a quiet anchor. When he spoke, it was about his own shifts, how a loss years back had carved out silences he never anticipated, making the lively sounds from next door feel even more poignant. No plea for sympathy, just simple truth. Ava felt a subtle shift, walls around her heart easing without warning. Their talk flowed deeper than expected, weaving through work, family, the quiet voids after big changes. She hadn't felt this at ease in ages, a warmth spreading slow and sure like sunlight filtering through leaves. The clock ticked onward, but time felt paused, held by shared understanding that went beyond words. James rose to leave, mindful of the hour. Eva walked him to the door, rain still pattering outside, streetlights casting a gentle glow. He paused, looking at her with calm sincerity, and said life sometimes shuts doors to guide you toward better ones. The words landed soft but lingered heavy. After he left, the house felt quieter yet fuller. Eva stood there, footsteps fading, rain steady, sensing something vital had brushed through her night. She checked on Ethan, then settled on the couch. Thoughts untangling from regret toward quiet wonder if life could still offer good surprises. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen window the next morning, warm and golden. Eva woke with a start, the house alive in a way that quickened her pulse. For a second, disoriented, then she heard bright laughter, Ethan's, innocent and unstoppable. Curious, she rose and headed to the kitchen. Freezing at the sight, James by the stove flipping pancakes with focused care, while Ethan chattered from the table about toys, school dreams, and plans for the day. The scene struck her not chaotic, but profoundly peaceful. An ordinary moment carrying extraordinary weight. James glanced up. Faint smile, explaining Leah called early. Stuck at work, asked him to check in. He'd knocked, but the door was unlocked, so he started breakfast. Eva searched for anger at the intrusion, but found only a spreading warmth in her chest, life veering in an unforeseen direction. Ethan spotted her, bounding over with a hug, squealing about pancakes. How James let him stir the batter, the syrup mishap that sparked laughter. She ruffled his hair, smiling through fluttering emotions, a lightness blooming she hadn't known in months. She moved closer, setting the table, ensuring Ethan had what he needed. James's glances were soft, reassuring, as if he understood the depth in these simple acts. Time slipped by in their easy rhythm, three of them sharing a morning like it was natural. When Leah arrived later, grateful and oblivious to the undercurrents, Ethan hugged Eva tight, insisting she and James return soon. Her heart swelled at his earnest words. Love woven through care and presence rather than romance alone, walking to her car with James beside her. Sunlight soft on his face, they shared glances needing few words, a profound shift acknowledged. Eva admitted softly she hadn't expected to feel so deeply. He replied gently, neither had he. Life reminds us what we've missed in quiet ways. She smiled, relief mixing with excitement, the tremor of possibility. Love, she realized, could arrive steadily, through shared duties, not grand storms. Weeks passed. Eva drawn back often not just for Ethan but for James, ordinary moments turning extraordinary. Conversations lengthened, comfortable and deep. She watched him with Ethan in the yard, patient kindness stirring a gentle longing for stability, not just a man. Tension from past heartbreaks eased into unimaginable calm. Their bond grew patient, real, built on honesty and kindness. Evenings on the porch, stars above, became ritual words weaving them closer. One night, under that starry sky, James turned with tenderness, saying he wouldn't rush but wanted to walk beside her through uncertainties. Eva's eyes pricked with tears. This was love, honest, patient, filling quiet spaces. She took his hand, whispering it was all she'd ever wanted. What began as babysitting had unfolded into profound change, healing, laughter, genuine connection. She wasn't just falling for him. She loved the life they could build, stable, warm, full.